This is Autoline Daily, the show dedicated to enthusiasts of the global automotive industry. Despite a slowdown in demand, Jaguar has put all its eggs in the EV basket, and it looks like there's no turning back now. The automaker is making the transition to an all-electric lineup, and production of its gas and diesel-powered vehicles ends in June. That first EV won't be out until 2025, but JLR needs to start converting its plants now to make electrics, so it's hoping to build up enough inventory so it has enough vehicles to give to dealers before that EV launches. That all-electric model is said to be a four-door sedan with more power than any previous Jaguar, 430 miles or 700 kilometers of range, and pricing around 100,000 pounds. That EV price war in China continues to heat up. BYD slashed the price of the updated version of its electric SUV, the Yuan Plus, by over $2,000, which brings the starting price to a little over $16,500. A base model with that price features a 150 kilowatt or 200 horsepower electric motor that drives the front wheels and a nearly 50 kilowatt hour LFP battery pack that provides up to 430 kilometers or 267 miles of range. The Yuan Plus is also sold in several other global markets as the Atto 3. The lawyers who helped void Elon Musk's $56 billion pay package as too excessive want a record legal fee from Tesla, which some might also consider excessive. Reuters reports the lawyers want $6 billion payable in Tesla stock. They want the automaker to pay the fee because it benefited from the return of Musk's pay package. Not surprisingly, Elon blasted the lawyers, calling the request criminal, and said they did nothing but damage the EV maker. The judge overseeing the case will decide if the lawyers get that fee. Musk was sued over his pay package in 2018 by a Tesla shareholder, and in January, the Delaware judge voided his pay package. With so many automakers in the U.S. reporting their new car sales on a quarterly basis, it can be hard to figure out how the market is doing on a monthly basis. But Toyota, Honda, Hyundai, Kia, Mazda, and Subaru posted their February sales, and the numbers are promising. Collectively, they were up a solid 13%, though certain brands fared better than others. Kia and Acura saw sales fall, while Genesis was up more than 9%. Toyota was up more than 16%, and Honda shot up more than 32%. We should have a bit more information on this tomorrow when a few more companies will report their sales. But if the numbers that we've got now are an indication of how things are going, then the market is off to a good start this year. EV charging startup Gravity Mobility, which is backed by Google, opened the fastest EV chargers in the U.S. to the public in New York City. It installed 24 500 kilowatt chargers in Manhattan. The chargers are capable of providing 2,400 miles of range per hour or 200 miles in 5 minutes. Gravity plans to open more chargers across the U.S. and says it has the capacity to manufacture and deploy thousands of chargers per year, which are about the size of a carry-on suitcase. Right now, I don't know of any passenger EVs in the U.S. that can charge at 500 kilowatts, but some of the newest electrics with an 800-volt architecture have shown they're capable of charging at that rate, and we'll start to see a lot more of those EVs in the coming years. Tesla should be making a nice bit of revenue from all those automakers that signed up to use its supercharger network in the U.S. Ford owners were the first to get access last week, and they're being charged roughly 30% more per kilowatt hour than Tesla owners. But that's if someone just wants to roll up and plug in. They can also get a membership through Tesla that costs $13 a month, and then they'll be able to pay the same price per kilowatt hour at the supercharger as a Tesla owner. so that membership would be worth it even if you only charge up a few times a month. Autonomous cars have a lot of sensors to determine their location and surroundings, including GPS. But GPS doesn't work in tunnels, in steep canyons, or even under canopies. So a company called GPR, or Ground Positioning Radar, has a technology to get around that. It uses ground-penetrating radar to map roads, just like a company like Google sends out cars to scan roads with cameras. The ground-penetrating radar looks 10 feet deep, and the radar signal that it gets is like a fingerprint. It's completely unique, and that signal never changes, so you only have to scan a road once. Autonomous cars can use that radar map to determine exactly where they are, and it's very accurate, within 5-centimeter accuracy on the x-axis and 10 centimeters on the y-axis. That's 2 inches and 4 inches respectively, whereas GPS accuracy is generally measured in meters or feet. GPR says it would cost $200 to add this technology to a car, though it expects costs to come down because it uses very little energy and data. Though it has shown the tech to US and German car companies, it says right now the most promising applications are for mining trucks and at ports. Automakers want to dump AM radio from their electric cars because it's too expensive to shield AM from all the electromagnetic interference generated by the electric motors and the inverter. But Joanna McClellan, who's an expert in EMI, or electromagnetic interference, says the automakers don't know what they're doing. She says that motors and inverters can be designed to minimize EMI fairly cheaply. And she says the reason they don't know what they're doing is because engineering schools don't know how to teach it.
That's really difficult because as far as the educators are concerned, I'm a barbarian. I am saying that their baby is ugly, that the way they teach circuit theory is teaching people how to fail because of the way they say that there's this omnipotent ground out there. It works great at DC, but it doesn't work above 100 kilohertz, and that's what has caused the black magic to occur.
There's a ton of good information in that interview. For example, Joanna McClellan says that as automakers begin using silicon carbide chips, it's going to interfere with other radio spectrums, including the ones used by police, fire departments, and ambulances. You can watch the entire interview on our website and on our YouTube channel. The new Land Cruiser gets less fuel economy than Toyota anticipated. Last year, the company estimated that the combined fuel economy would be 27 mpg, but the EPA rating came in at 23 miles to the gallon. That's still significantly higher than the 14 mpg combined the previous Land Cruiser got, but it used to be powered by a 5.7-liter V8. The new model is a hybrid that features a turbocharged 2.4-liter inline four-cylinder and an 8-speed automatic transmission. It cranks out 326 horsepower and 465 pound-feet of torque and is rated at 22 mpg in the city and 25 on the highway. The new Land Cruiser arrives at dealers in the U.S. this spring with a starting price of $57,445. That brings us to the end of today's show. Thanks for tuning in.
Autoline Daily is brought to you by Bridgestone, solutions for your journey, and by Intrepid Control Systems, over-the-air engineering. Boost your game. We want to know what drives your testing. OTA, connected car, diagnostics, remote testing. Intrepid Control Systems is here to help you work from anywhere. Intrepid Control Systems, driven by your data.